Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another What's for Dinner video. I've got some awesome dinner ideas for you in this video, just some real life dinners that I have cooked for my family. As you know, I'm a very busy working mom and my kids are in activities, so these are not super complicated dishes, but I hope that you get some inspiration for your own meals, so let's get into it. All right, guys, tonight for dinner, I am making Copycat Burger King Whoppers. Get excited. Okay, so what I've already done is I thought about deep frying my fries, and then I thought, no, I'm gonna be better than that. I'm gonna bake them. So I dumped out some crispy frozen fries onto a baking sheet. Those are in the oven right now baking. While those are baking, we're gonna work on the burgers. So what I've got here in order to recreate the Whopper, sesame seed buns to replicate the old BK. I've got 2 pounds of ground beef. This is about 90% lean ground beef. I'm gonna put just a touch of liquid smoke in there, and the reason behind this is to kind of get that smoky grilled flavor they have at Burger King. We're gonna be cooking these on the stovetop, not on the grill. Salt and pepper, and then the traditional toppings for a Whopper are lettuce and tomato. You can add cheese if you'd like, which I'm going to, onion, and then mayo and ketchup. Now the other thing that we need is pickle. I need to look through my fridge and see what kind of pickles I have in there, because I want to get the thin one, you know, like the proper thin burger pickles. So let me look for that. So I've mixed up my burger mixture. I added maybe a little less than 1 teaspoon of this liquid smoke. Be very careful with this. This stuff is super strong, and if you add too much, it's just going to overtake the flavor. I added 1 tablespoon of salt and a good amount of black pepper. So that's all I'm adding to the beef. All of the Copycat recipes I looked up basically said just keep it simple, salt and pepper, no other seasoning. Okay, so on my counter here, I've got some waxed paper. This is essential to making thin uniform burger patties. I've got 2 pounds of ground beef in here. So basically what I'm gonna do is split this into half-pound portions, and then for each half-pound portion, I'm gonna split that in 2, because I'm told that the patties at Burger King are quarter-pound patties. And you want to make these really flat and uniform so that they cook quickly and evenly. If you have like a big thick burger that like bubbles up, that is not what we want for this Whopper situation here. If you wanted to be super accurate about this, you could get your food scale out, but I'm not going to do that today. And honestly, I'm okay with making more of these than I need, because I actually like having leftover burger patties in the fridge. They honestly make a great lunch. You can do like a Big Mac salad or even like a Whopper type salad. They're really good. Okay, so I've got 6 of these portions on here. I'm gonna take another sheet of wax paper, and all you wanna do is just flatten this down until it's uniform. If you don't feel like you can do it with your fingers, use a bottom of a skillet or a plate or something. But that's what it should look like when you're done. Just like a very thin patty. And you can even make these ahead of time too. So if you wanted to, you know, make up a bunch of these on the weekend and then, you know, a couple nights later, fry them up for dinner, you could totally do that. So I'm gonna keep making these patties, and then we are gonna get our toppings ready. All right, so I've got my beef patties here. They are super thin. I just stacked them up with wax paper. I've got a stainless steel skillet heating up. This is very instrumental to getting a nice crispy crust, and then I'm toasting up some of the seeded buns in this skillet. All right, so here's our Copycat Whopper. It's actually a double Whopper with cheese, so it looks delicious. And then I'm gonna put some fries on the side. All right. Better than BK. All right, so tonight for dinner, we are making a really delicious fish dinner. We're gonna be making Panko Crusted Cod and some salmon, and then I've got some asparagus over here, and I'm probably gonna make some egg noodles. Thank you to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's What's for Dinner video. You guys know I love working with them. I'm gonna be featuring some of their ingredients in dinner tonight. So what I've got here is some of this wild caught Pacific cod. I really love that I can get quality like seafood, meat, poultry, all of that from Thrive Market, because it's hard for me to find around here. So this probably looks funny, but I've just got got some salmon and some cod thawing in some cold water here. And then I'm going to bake it in the oven with a panko crust. So in this bowl right here, I have some of the Primal Kitchen mayo. That's my favorite mayo that I get from Thrive Market. I'm going to be mixing that with some of the Thrive Market Dijon mustard. And then I also got these panko breadcrumbs from Thrive. I love that they are like the really thick panko style. And I'm going to be coating the fish in this along with some of the olive oil and butter. I also love this container of oil that I get from Thrive. I think it's really pretty. I have a lemon. I'm going to use some lemon zest. And then I also have some salt and pepper. I really love getting my peppercorns from Thrive also. They come in these really nice kind of Ziploc bags, and I just refilled my pepper grinder, and I've got some kosher salt. So I'm going to get started on this and I'll show you guys how I make it. Okay, so I've got my fish laid out on a baking sheet here just on some parchment paper, and I'm going to go ahead and cook all of this together as the pieces are similar in size, and so they probably will cook at about the same time. So the recipe does not call for this, which I will link the recipe that I'm kind of using as inspiration down below. It just kind of says to coat the fish with the breading and continue on that way. However, I do not want bland fish. I'm gonna sprinkle my fish with some Old Bay seasoning just to make. All right, so I literally just had a mishap where my Old Bay seasoning dumped all over my baking tray, but you know what? We're gonna carry on. So what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and rub the fillets in there because, you know, cooking isn't always perfect. Can I get an amen? So, okay, instead of sprinkling it, we're just gonna rub it into the fish. I'm gonna get another piece of parchment. All right, so that Old Bay did not want to come out unless I squeezed the container, and then when I squeezed the container, we had a mass casualty, but that's fine. We will improvise. Okay. You know, one time I actually did that when I was adding, well, I was supposed to be adding cumin to like a taco soup, but instead I ended up plopping a bunch of cinnamon in there. It was not good. So in this bowl here, I've got some mayo, and I'm not measuring this. Like I said, I'm just kind of measuring with my heart. I'm gonna add a couple teaspoons of Dijon mustard just to kind of give that some flavor. And like I said, if you want to follow the original recipe, just click the link down below so you can get an idea. I'm also gonna add just a little bit of dill to this, just because I feel like dill is a really good flavor in seafood, but that is optional. So in this bowl here, I've melted some butter, and I'm going to add some panko breadcrumbs to that. So this is basically going to kind of recreate that texture that you get with a pan-fried fish, only it's going to be healthier because we're going to bake it in the oven. So I'm going to season this with salt and some pepper, and I also, as you saw, added some olive oil to there. So I'm going to mix this up, and it should be kind of like clumpy, you know, like a crumb coating almost. Okay, and then the last step is just to grate the zest of one lemon in there. This is a microplane grater. If you don't have one, I would highly recommend it. They're fantastic. But while I'm grating this, let me tell you some more about Thrive. So you guys know, if you've been watching my videos, I've been working with them for a really long time. I love their online marketplace. I love that I can get ingredients there that I can't find here in my small town. And even if I could, I just feel like they're super convenient in terms of getting things delivered in a really easy, simple way. I love using their app. They offer free shipping on their pantry items over $49. And if you guys want to try them out, they do have a couple different membership options. So they do offer month-to-month membership, but I always do the annual membership because it makes more sense for me to do it that way. I order from them a couple of times a month actually, and then I pay less than $5 a month for that membership. I'm just spreading this mayo Dijon mixture over the top of the fish. But yeah, I am actually planning a video, which you guys will see hopefully soon. But basically, I'm going to be recreating some gourmet meals using ingredients that I got from Thrive for like way cheaper than you can get them in a restaurant. So I'm super excited about that. But if you guys want to check out Thrive Market, I'll have a link in the description box below. It's just thrivemarket.com/Jen Chapin. And if you go to that link, you will actually get 25% off your first order, which is huge. Plus you get to choose a free gift. I love it. I also love really getting, like I said, their meat and seafood, their frozen items. I love getting like kids snacks from there, like for their, lunch boxes and different things like that. It's just all around awesome. I even ordered some wine from them, which I'm going to share with you guys in an upcoming video. It's delicious. Once again, it's thrivemarket.com/Jen Chapin to get 25% off your order plus a free gift. Doesn't that look beautiful? Okay, so I've got my fish. I spread the mayo mixture on there. I sprinkled the panko on top. I'm gonna go ahead and set this aside because I'm not gonna bake it quite yet, and we're gonna make the asparagus. Okay, so I've got some asparagus here, and I had already washed and dried this, and it was just kind of hanging out in my fridge waiting to be used. So when I roast asparagus, I like to mix it, or kind of toss it, I guess, in both lemon juice and olive oil before I bake it. I'm not sure why. I think that I don't know, I just feel like it really gives the asparagus a good flavor, so that's just my preference. I'm gonna drizzle a little bit of olive oil on there, and then I'm gonna try this new seasoning that I got on Thrive. It is the Primal Palate Breakfast Blend. I don't think this is necessarily just for breakfast, because obviously it's just like a very versatile seasoning mix, but I'm gonna use it. It looks like it's got Himalayan salt in it, garlic, onion, oregano, turmeric, and sage, so I think it'll be pretty good. Obviously vegetables are very bland, so make sure that you season them well. I'm just gonna go ahead and toss this. And usually I find with asparagus, it probably only takes like, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes to roast in the oven, depending on how you like it. I really prefer to have it roasted. I don't really care for it steamed. So what I'll end up doing is just kind of throwing this in the oven along with the fish, and then I'm gonna make some egg noodles on the side. Okay, so on the side, I am going to make some just plain buttered egg noodles, which is one of my kids' favorite things to eat, so it's fine. It's nothing fancy. It's basically boiled egg noodles, and then I toss them with like butter and salt, and it seems like they're done. The fish should be done a little bit. All right, are you guys ready to make butter noodles? This is super complicated. All right, so my noodles are draining in the sink. I'm gonna put a little bit of butter in the bottom of here. I have the heat on just low. I'm gonna turn it off once I put the noodles back in there. So I boiled, I don't know, almost a pound of egg noodles. I would say probably to a pound of egg noodles, I just used half a stick of butter. And then I did salt the water really well when I cooked them, so I'm not gonna add extra salt. These are the extra wide ones. I'm just gonna pour these in on top of here. And I mean, honestly, like, who doesn't like a good buttered noodle? It's just like pure comfort. Okay, so I turn the heat off. I'm just gonna stir this around, and my fish is done, my asparagus is done. So I'm going to fix up a plate, and I'll show you guys how it looks. All right, so here is the completed plate. I took a little bit of the cod and a little bit of the salmon just because I wanted to try both, but this fish turned out really, really good. I would highly recommend this method of cooking it. Turns out great. Got some of the asparagus that turned out good, and the buttered noodles and a little bit of lemon wedge. Really, really good. Okay, so tonight for dinner I am going to make some shrimp tacos, and they're kind of going to be like Cajun shrimp tacos. So I'll show you guys what I have out here. I will try to type this recipe up as best I can in the description box below. This was something I kind of saw, like, I can't remember if it was on TikTok. Either way, I saw it somewhere online, and I was like, I pretty much have the things to make this, so we're gonna do it. So what I have here is some slaw mix. This is basically just like green cabbage, red cabbage, and some carrots here in a bowl. This is what's gonna be the topping for the shrimp tacos. And I also have a can of corn that I drained. I'm going to roast this in a pan before I add it to the slaw, and that's gonna be like our creamy topping. I have some cilantro. In this bag here, I have some peeled and deveined shrimp. This is about a pound of shrimp that I've seasoned with Cajun seasoning. I actually put this in the fridge early this morning to kind of let it sit and marinate a little bit. I've got 2 limes, some shallots. I picked these up at Walmart and I had extra. So I think what I'm gonna do is use these in the slaw mixture. And then to make the coleslaw part, I'm actually gonna use sour cream, probably lime juice, cilantro, maybe some different spices and things. And then I've also got some flour tortillas here. You could use corn tortillas, or you could just even eat it as a salad. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn my heat on, probably about a medium to medium high heat. And I don't think you necessarily have to roast the corn, but I feel like it's gonna give it good flavor, especially since we're using canned corn. This is not fresh corn season. Here in Iowa, it's November, so I'm gonna add some olive oil to this pan here and just let it heat up. Okay, so I've got some cilantro here, and this is what I'm gonna add to the slaw portion. I get questions from you guys a lot on like, when do I use my butcher block versus when do I use a cutting board? There's really no rhyme or reason to it. It just kind of depends. Like right now my island is kind of a mess, and so I'm not cutting over there. I just have everything set up over here because it's more convenient to show you guys with the camera. But as a rule of thumb, I don't cut anything on my butcher block that is staining, and I don't cut raw meat on there. So like, for example, if I were gonna cut like beets or something like that, I would do that on like a separate plastic cutting board, or like raw meat I always do on a plastic cutting board, etc. So here is the cilantro with the slaw mix. And then I don't know if I'm gonna use both of these shallots. I'm not like a huge fan of like raw onion, so I might just use one, but I'll just kind of tear the skin off of these and just slice these up like as thinly as I can. You could definitely use like a mandolin if you wanted to. Okay, so I'm gonna season this with salt and pepper. Seasoning it with the salt will kind of help to tenderize and draw out some of that liquid in the cabbage. I would say for the slaw portion, I didn't really plan ahead, but you could make this like up to a day in advance. So I've got my pan here. This is just a nonstick pan. I'm gonna use this for the shrimp also, but I'm going to saute the corn first. So this is just a can of corn that I've drained really well. I'm just gonna char this. I don't really need to cook it because it's already cooked, but I wanna get some flavor on it, so I'm just gonna season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I'll just kind of toss this around a little bit until it is kind of browned, and then I'll toss it with the cabbage mixture. So my corn is done. Like I said, this didn't get like a ton of color on it, but just roasted a little bit. So I'm gonna put that on top of the slaw mixture. I will toss that around just a little bit to kind of let it combine. I don't know what the right word is. And then in my pan, I'm gonna add a little bit of extra olive oil. And then I've got my shrimp with the Cajun seasoning. I'm just gonna add that. And shrimp cooks like very, very quickly. I would say, you know, maybe 3 minutes per side, if that. So I'm just gonna toss this around until it's cooked through. And with the shrimp, you know it's cooked through when it's totally opaque. All right, so my shrimp is pretty much done. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat off. If you are scared to cook shrimp at home, please don't be scared. It is super easy. I mean, if you can cook chicken, you know, cut up chicken at home, you can cook shrimp at home. So I'm gonna turn that off. I do wanna season it with just a little bit of lime juice. I'm just gonna squeeze this over the top. Okay, so the shrimp is done, and while I finish the meal, I'm going to cover it up, just because even after you turn the heat off, the shrimp will still continue to cook. So I'm just gonna drape a piece of foil over here and let that sit while I assemble the rest of my tacos. In this bowl, I've got about a half a cup, I would say, of sour cream. I have the juice of 3 halves of lime left, so I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze that into there, and this is what is going to make the dressing for our slaw. Okay, so we've got the juice of 1.5 limes. I probably should have gotten a whisk to do this, but that's fine. To that, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. I'm gonna add some pepper. To this, I'm gonna add just a pinch of my blackening / Cajun seasoning. Not a ton, but just a little bit to give it some flavor. And then when I make regular coleslaw or like traditional coleslaw, I normally use a mixture of like sugar and mayo and vinegar. But since this is sort of a non-traditional slaw. I'm just gonna drizzle some honey in there. I'm gonna stir this around and give it a taste before I mix it with the cabbage and the corn. Okay, so here is the slaw mixture with the cilantro and the corn. I did add just a little bit more of the Cajun / blackening seasoning to this, but other than that, it turned out really good. I love me a good slaw dressing. Okay, so I'm just gonna toss this around and I'll probably stick it in the fridge for maybe about 10 minutes to chill while I prepare the tortillas, and then we will be ready for the tacos. All right, so for flour tortillas, you guys have probably heard me mention this before, but I always toast them or heat them up, I guess, rather, in a dry skillet. You can obviously heat them up in the microwave. I've done that before many times, but I actually really like the texture when I do it in a skillet. So basically you just have a dry skillet, have it over like medium low heat, and then you just leave this in there until it toasts lightly on one side, and then you flip it over and toast it on the other side. You basically just want to warm them through, maybe get like a tiny little bit of color on them. So I'm just going to warm a couple of these. I'll fix my tacos and I'll let you guys know what it looks like. Let's build some tacos. This would also make, like, honestly, a pretty decent meal prep meal, just because, like, shrimp, you can actually undercook it a little bit and then it will warm up really well in the microwave since you don't have to heat it up for that long. Okay, I'm gonna put some of the slaw on top of each taco. Okay, and then I have some cotija cheese. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of that over. Here are my tacos. These are delicious shrimp tacos with some corn and cilantro, lime, slaw. Delicious. Definitely give these a try. All right, so as part of my pantry clean out, I'm trying to make things that I have on hand for dinner. So I have this Saffron Road lemongrass basil simmer sauce. I'm going to make this with some chicken, but I also want to make some rice to go with it. So I've got my container of brown rice here. I always like to bake my brown rice. It turns out really good. I have a recipe for that in my cookbook, which I'll link down below. But essentially, you just want to put some butter in a 9x13 dish. And if you're vegan or you are dairy intolerant, you can use olive oil as well. And then you want to add about 2 cups of brown rice. And then I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Totally leave out if you want to. I just like to season my rice with butter and salt because my kids will eat it better that way. Okay, so then I just have 3 1/3 cups of water that I've boiled in my kettle here. I can link this kettle down below. I got it on Amazon. It boils water really fast. And then all you have to do is kind of just stir this around a little bit. You just use the knife you cut the butter with. And obviously this butter will melt in the oven. I have made rice so many different ways. I've made it in the Instant Pot, on the stove, etc. And I always think that this is the best way to do it. It's just so foolproof. You don't have to stir it. You don't have to worry about it. So all I'm gonna do is cover this with aluminum foil. I'll bake it in a 375-degree oven for 1 hour. And then, really important, when you take it out of the oven, uncover it and let it sit for 5 minutes after you fluff it before you serve it. That just lets some of the water evaporate and it makes it so it's not sticky. And if you want to use white rice instead, you totally can. Just do it for 28 minutes instead of an hour. Okay, so while my rice is in the oven, I've got some broccoli that I steamed up here. That's just going to kind of rest and stay warm. I've got a pot here that I'm going to make the lemongrass basil chicken in with some olive oil on the bottom. And then I steamed up some dumplings. Those are just kind of resting back there. And then I've got my chicken here. This is about 2 pounds of chicken breast. I cut up and seasoned with ground ginger and salt and pepper. I am not going to add any veggies to this, but you could add like peppers, onions, whatever you want. I'm just going to leave it plain because I think the kids will like that more. And then we'll have the broccoli on the side. So I'm also going to put a little bit of garlic in here once I get it in the pan to saute. Okay, so I just took the rice out of the oven, and basically you want to immediately remove the foil and then just fluff it with a fork and then let it sit here uncovered for a couple minutes. Let the water kind of evaporate off and you will have perfectly cooked brown rice. It's magical. You can even prep this ahead of time too if you wanted to prep it for like fried rice or something like that. Works super well. Okay, and then here's that chicken. I am going to garnish it with some cilantro. It doesn't look very pretty, but I tasted it and it tastes really, really good. I did let it simmer on low heat for I don't know, maybe about 15 minutes just to make sure the chicken was tender. All right, so here's our chicken with rice, and then I've got some cilantro on the top. Highly recommend this sauce if you can find it. I got mine on Thrive. I've got some pot stickers with soy sauce and some broccoli. All right, so tonight, guys, we're kind of having a hodgepodge dinner. We've got swim practices going on, as y'all know, so Kira actually already ate. I heated her up some fettuccine Alfredo and broccoli, although after she swims for an hour and 15 minutes, she may eat another snack when she comes home. Adam is picking up Connor from swim right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and make some of these steaks. These are just ribeyes that I thawed out from the freezer, and I've got this Corky's cookout seasoning. I think I actually got this in Texas when I was down there for work, but I've got this stainless skillet. I'm just gonna sear these on both sides and then let them rest and probably finish in a warm oven. In the oven, I am also cooking this fish and chip dinner that I got from Aldi. It just serves one person, so I think we're all just gonna kind of share it. And then I also am gonna make some Brussels sprouts, so I've washed these. I'm gonna have them, put them on a sheet tray. I've washed up some strawberries. I need to cut those up. And then I also cooked up some good old Stouffer's mac and cheese. So when I say hodgepodge, I mean hodgepodge. I also have we ordered takeout for lunch, and I got an extra salad that I didn't eat. So I've got a Caesar salad in here. I'll probably toss that up. We'll have that on the side. Okay, so I tossed these with olive oil and salt, and I'm gonna put them in the oven and let them roast up. All right, so I went ahead and sliced up the steak. I have some A1 roasted Brussels sprouts, turned out really good, and some mac and cheese. Okay, so tonight for dinner, I am gonna make this recipe out of my cookbook. It is probably one of the most popular recipes in here. It's really, really good. So in my Instant Pot, and I am kind of adapting this. I've never made it in the Instant Pot before, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. 2 pounds of lean ground beef in here, and I added some garlic paste, the equivalent of 4 cloves of garlic. And then I'm gonna need some soy sauce, lime, sesame oil, and hot sauce. All right, so I'm gonna mix up the seasoning mixture for the beef. So I've got 6 tablespoons of soy sauce in here. Again, we're doubling this recipe. And then I'm gonna use the juice of 2 limes. I do not recommend adding salt to this recipe until you taste it at the end, because obviously soy sauce is very salty, and once you add salt to it, you can't take it out, so don't make that mistake. Okay, and then I need about 4 spoons of brown sugar, sorry, 6 tablespoons of brown sugar, and then 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. Oh, this is a new bottle. Huh. I am gonna measure this because it is quite strong. Okay, and then 1 teaspoon of hot sauce, which I'm just gonna use Frank's Red Hot because that is what I grabbed out of the fridge, but normally I use like sriracha in this recipe. Whatever you want to use is fine. Okay, so as soon as the beef is done, we're gonna add this to the mixture and then cook it on high pressure for probably about 3 to 4 minutes, I would say, is normally what I do for ground beef. All right, so here we're gonna put the soy sauce mixture in, and I'm just gonna stir that around a little bit. And like I said, for ground beef, since it's already cooked, you're kind of just tenderizing it. So we're just gonna put this on high pressure for 3 minutes. Okay, so I am going to work on the accoutrement for the tacos. So I've got some cilantro here. I'm gonna chop that up. I've got some flour tortillas. I'm washing some lettuce. I think I might have mine in lettuce wraps. And then I'm gonna make a fruit salad also. So I've got a couple apples, orange. I opened a can of pineapple. I'm gonna make a salad on the side. I just set some veggies out here for the kids to snack on. And then I've got these strawberries. So I'm gonna put those in the bowl for the fruit salad, and then I'll chop up the rest of it. So I'm going to make this salad kit. I got this from Aldi this week. It's just the Asian chopped salad. It comes with like a mix of like slaw and lettuce. I am gonna add, I put some cilantro in the bottom of the bowl, but I'm gonna add a little bit more cilantro to this just because I think it gives it a really good flavor. And then I think I'm gonna maybe wait to dress it right before we eat, but it comes with like almonds and wonton strips, and then the dressing is in a packet. So it'll be a super easy side for dinner. Let me show you the beef. Okay, so this turned out really good in the Instant Pot. I'll definitely be making it like this again. It makes the meat really, really tender, which is kind of the same if you do like taco meat in the crock pot as well. I did taste it. I felt like it was a little bit sweet, so I went ahead and added the juice of 1 lime, and it turned out perfect. I am gonna make some tacos for Kira right now. Adam is running Connor to swim. So Connor will eat after he gets back from swim, but I just have a dry skillet here. I like to toast, not really toast, but just warm up my flour tortillas. I actually read, I don't know how true this is for every single brand, but I actually read that they, like flour tortillas come partially uncooked. So you can definitely heat them up in the microwave, but I just like doing it in a dry skillet. I think it gives it a lot better texture. So for Kira, I'm gonna give her a couple of these tacos, and then I will, oh, I need to make the sauce, the sour cream sauce. She won't eat that. She'll just eat the plain meat and the tortilla, and then I'll give her some fruit salad on the side. Okay, so I'm gonna make this sour cream sauce to go on top of the tacos. So you need about half a cup of sour cream, which I'm just gonna use the rest of what's in here. Just a couple dashes of hot sauce, and then the juice of 1 lime. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. Okay, so I'm having mine in a lettuce wrap. Here is what it looks like. These lettuce leaves are pretty sketchy, so hopefully I can eat this without it falling apart. And I also, Adam and I split that bag of salad. It was really good. I highly recommend that one from Aldi. All right, thank you guys so much for watching today's What's for Dinner video. If there are any of these ideas or recipes you want to try, I would love to hear about them in the comments below. Other than that, thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out Thrive Market. I'll have all of the information in the description box if you would like to try their delivery service. They're fantastic, and I highly recommend them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.